What's going on, H2O Army? Joseph from H2O Plants. Today we're going to be rescaping the 15-gallon Flooville Flex tank, only using 5 plants. So stay tuned to see how we're going to do it. If you're new here, consider hitting the subscribe button and enlisting in the H2O Army. Also hit the bell icon to make sure you join our elite notification squad. Alright guys, so if you don't remember, the 15-gallon Flooville Flex tank was made vacant after we moved our shell dwellers from here to their new home just on the side of me here. Now, this tank is a 15-gallon tank. It has a pretty decent light. It has a built-in filtration system. All you need to do is add a heater. If you haven't seen how we set it up initially, I'll link it above and you can check that out. But now it's time to put something else in it. But what we got to do first is we got to plant it and make it ready, because what I'm putting in here cannot go in here right away. The reason being, I added ADA Aquasoil to this tank. Now, ADA Aquasoil is probably the best premium soil that you could use for Aquascape or for a planted tank, and it leaches ammonia into the water column, which means that basically the water is uninhabitable by any sort of fish or crustacean or anything like that for however long it takes for that ammonia to start transitioning to nitrite for the nitrogen cycle to complete. So we're going to be waiting quite some time, but in the meantime I want to get the scape going. I feel like I could plant it with some plants, get the driftwood that I want to use in there, make it really nice and simple, and have it fully ready pretty much by the time we get what we're putting in here, which I'm not going to spoil just yet, but some of you guys did make recommendations when I asked you for it. We may have chosen one of those, or I may have went with my idea that I wanted to do, but who knows, we shall see in the future. So we have the Aquasoil in there now. I already added that. I got some driftwood, and I got, right now I only have 4 plants that are going to go in here, but there's going to be a 5th plant added at some point, just not right away. We're going to give it some time to mellow out in here before I add it, because I want to make sure everything else is going to grow good, or it kind of just doesn't fit with what I want to do. So the idea to this setup and what I'm going to do here is a really simple, easy scape that anybody can do and make something really awesome just out of a couple plants and a piece of wood. You don't need rocks, you don't need a whole lot of anything else. It's just going to be a couple plants. Honestly, I was going to do it with just 2 plants, but I had a tissue culture cup of some Alternia Renaki Rossifolia and some Bucephalandra that I got in that I want to grow out in this tank. So I figured, you know what, I'll put those in here as well, but I was only going to use 2 plants originally, and those were going to be giant hairgrass, which is this plant here. It gets nice and tall, and this is also called Vivipara, and what it does is it produces babies along its leaves going up, and you could actually kind of rip them off manually, comb them off, and replant them if you wanted to, or just trim the tops and it'll continue sending out runners. And I have Marsilia Minuta, which is a type of 4-leaf clover. As you know, I'm very fond of dwarf 4-leaf clover. This is another form of dwarf 4-leaf clover, except it's slightly bigger, so I think it'll look nicer in this tank, being that it has slightly bigger leaves. And then also I got some Bucephalandra from one of my recent orders that are going in this tank. I'm just going to probably stick them in the driftwood, in the little crevices. This is the piece of driftwood I have here. I've actually been letting it soak for a couple days in the water. It's not fully submergible yet, but I'm going to use these bits of base rock to kind of just hold it in place until it fully waterlogs, and then it should be able to sink on its own. And I also attached some lead weights to keep it held down also, just because the branches, if you put a rock on the back side here, the branches tend to go like this, so I weight those down. Those should stay. I'm going to attach the Bucephalandra in here. It should go pretty easily, and that's going to be it. So like I said, really easy scape. Anybody's going to be able to do this, replicate something at home, and it's going to show that you don't need a whole lot of stuff to really get a good aquascape going on. Honestly, I could leave out the Bucephalandra and the Alternia Renaki and just use the giant hairgrass and the Marsilia, and I think it would look great. So let's get into planting this. First things first, it's going to be a little tricky to show you guys on video, but I'll try and walk you through the process here. But I'm going to plant the giant hairgrass, and what I'm going to do is kind of just spread this out. Now this is giant hairgrass that we do sell on the website, so I'm trying to use plants either that we sell on the website or similar to what we sell on the website, so you really could just go on the website and buy, you know, whatever it is that you want. My idea is the whole background is going to be this giant hairgrass, and the whole foreground is going to be the Marsilia. I'm going to stick splashes of the red plant, which is the Alternia Rossifolia. I don't even know if this is going to be okay, because it's been a tissue culture that we've had left over for quite some time, and it may not even survive, because it's just, you know, they only have a certain shelf life to them. So I was sitting around, I figured that nobody else was gonna really buy it, so why not use it in a Aquascape? And I'm just kind of using tweezers here. Now we do sell tweezers on the website. If anybody didn't know, we recently got aquascaping tools in, but these are nice long ones that I actually picked up from my friend Kevin. He had these, I think these came from Kevin anyway. Actually, no, I think these came from somebody else. I thought they came from Kevin. But we also do have like these other types of tweezers as well, which are nice. So these are just, you know, so far I used 1 clump of the giant hair grass. This is 2 clumps that I'm using now. We're gonna stick this in here. And pretty much I'm just lining the back of the tank. Unfortunately, the light, because it's, you know, above the tank, is difficult to get in here so you guys can see, but I'll show you in between the plantings here what we're doing. So, and this is going to make 3 clumps of this. The idea here is I want to show a something that not too many people do. They typically plant just a couple plants in the beginning and just kind of let them grow out. What I'm doing here is I'm actually going to plant really heavy, so that way it's going to be a quicker fill-in time, and I'm not going to have to sit here and really like wait a couple months for it to fill in. Like this should fill in a couple weeks, just from how much I'm going to use. But honestly, I'm not even using that much. This is 3 clumps here now, and you know, it's a fairly cheap and easy aquascape. So I'm going to just lower the light so I can see a little bit here. Now, unfortunately, with Aquasoil, it kicks up dust. I've actually been dealing with this dust problem with Aquasoil for the last couple days after I added it here. I'm just going to fix something manually here. Okay. All right, this is still 3 clumps here. We typically give, like, even though it says 1 clump, there's actually usually 2 or 3 included in the bundles, and that's just because I want to give you guys a nice value here to it. But yeah, so that's this is 3, and I think I took out 4. Yeah, I took out 4. Oh, 1 didn't. 2 aren't staying down. We're gonna have to reposition those. It is a little difficult because I didn't use a whole lot of Aquasoil. I only have a thin layer really. And there's also the, I have a light diffuser in the bottom of this, and that's to just, if I chose to add rock, which I didn't know if I was going to add rock at the time or not, that it would help keep the rock from cracking the bottom glass. It's a good way to distribute weight evenly without it resting on one point. So unfortunately that's there, so it's difficult to get these plants all the way down there, but this is working. But now the water's really clouded up, so I'm just going to kind of, you know, walk you guys through this as I'm setting it up, because the water is really cloudy now. You're not going to be able to see anything, and neither am I. I'm just going to go off what I can see and what I have pictured in my mind, and hopefully it kind of pans out. And then once, you know, once the water settles and all of that settles, I will be doing, you know, I'll get you some B-roll footage of it. Yeah, but see, these aren't going to be any good, so I'm actually not even going to use these Alternia Radecki. I wanted to add red in just to give you guys like a little, you know, a little color difference and show some things, but that tissue culture is no good. I thought it might be alright, but nope, no good. So we're not going to use that. Okay. So next I'm going to position in the driftwood now that I got the hair grass in. And the driftwood is kind of just going in the back left-hand corner. What I want to happen is I want the hair grass to almost cover the wood, so you can't even see the back of the tank or the back of the wood. And I'm just gonna drop a couple of these rocks there to hold down the wood. The water's so cloudy from the Aquasoil, it's crazy. I was going to use a second piece of wood, but I changed my mind on that. So next I have all this Marsilia here that I got from Kevin. This isn't the same kind that I have on the website, but it's very similar. It's an easy carpeting plant to grow in almost any type of setup. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take a couple like patches and plant them together, and then I'm going to kind of spread them out and just fill in the whole foreground with it. Yep, nope, I'm gonna have to use smaller tweezers. Sometimes the big tweezers on shallow substrate are not a good thing to do here, but normally I would speed this up too, and you know, not have to have you guys sit here watching me planting, but I kind of wanted to show you guys how easy it could be to do an aquascape in real time. And you know, really this should only be like 15 minutes at most, because it's, like I said, really simple. We're gonna let it grow in, and the tweezers are not cooperating with me, so I'm gonna just use my hands. Sometimes your hands are your best tools. There we go, got that buried, kicked up more of the dust here. Got another patch here. Okay. Man, I really don't have like a set plan on where I'm planting these. I'm kind of just planting them in the foreground, and I'm gonna let them spread out and mesh with the giant hair grass as they do naturally. I'm not gonna really force them into anything here. And honestly, like, this isn't that much. This would maybe be like 3 or 4 portions from us on the website of our regular dwarf four-leaf clover if you wanted to replicate something like this. So, you know, you're talking about maybe 8 portions of plants here, and you get your aquascape and a piece of driftwood. So a lot of people think aquascaping is complicated. They want to have all these plants, and don't get me wrong, I'm a collector at heart. You know, many of you have seen my 55-gallon. It is a huge collection of plants, but the you know, sometimes you don't have to do that. You could do simple and still have a great aquascape. And by no means am I, you know, any sort of professional, but I know a couple tricks. I don't even know if this is anything that's usable here. I'm just gonna plant it and we'll see what it does. A lot of the middle part is looking funky to me, but we'll plant it. We'll see what it does. And this may take a day or two to clear up, so what I'm going to do is, once we're done planting here, we'll come back, you know, in a couple days and see how everything looks. May have to do a big water change too, just to help it clear up a little faster here. Alright, so that's those. And then I have the Bucephalandrid here, but the problem is now I can't see anything. So what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to wait for this to clear up for right now, see how it looks without the Buce, and if I choose to add it, we'll record that part and put it at the end of this video. But for now, I'm just going to leave it be, and you know, we'll see how it looks in a day or two once the water clears up. And if it still looks like it needs the boost, we'll put it in. If not, I'll throw the boost in one of the other tanks. God knows I have enough of them. All right, so fast forward to the future. All right, so here's the tank about a week later, actually, because the water was still a little cloudy for the next day or so, and it eventually lightened up this week, but I haven't had time to film it, so I wanted to get a little shot of it now so you guys can see what's going on with it. So the hairgrass is mellowing out back there pretty nicely. The Marsilia minuta, I believe it was, is doing okay. No new growth, no significant loss yet, so we'll see what happens. I did only add in those 2 plants originally, the hairgrass and the four-leaf clover. I added in this Hydrocodal Vertilici or something like that. It's similar to Hydrocodal Trapeta Japan, except as you can see, it has tall stalks. So I really wanted that plant one, and I got it from a friend of mine on Instagram, Abeta's World, if you're familiar with her. But she had a little extra trimmings of it, so I took them. I just placed them in here for right now to see if they're going to grow out and see what happens with them, but I still don't know if it's going to be something that I'm actually going to keep in this aquarium just yet. I floated the Boost here. It actually just kind of plopped itself down. Actually today it was floating for the last couple days, but now it's just kind of sitting there. That I don't know yet if that's going to stay in this tank or if I'm going to remove it. I'm just kind of letting it transition here and see what happens with it, because I took a couple pieces of this boost and added it to my other aquarium to have it grown out, but this was like left over. I didn't really have too much room for it, so I went in here. We'll see if I decide to do anything with it yet. This is just kind of a startup process. Like I said, it's not going to be ready for a couple weeks for livestock, so we have to just let it mellow out here. The other things that I added were these moss domes. So these things are really cool. They're weighted down. They have like little pellets inside, and you unscrew the top and you put the moss in, and they will eventually grow out from there. So I just took a couple of the rare mosses that I have in one of the grow out tanks and put a little bit in each one just to see what they do. I don't really know what to expect from them, but we'll see. If they create nice little domes, that would be pretty cool. So I want to know if you guys can guess what's going in this tank based on the setup that it is now. Take your best, most accurate guess that you can come up with. Be detailed. Just don't say, oh, you're putting in, let's just say cichlids, for instance. You're putting a cichlid. Not that I am. Not that I'm not. Who knows? But leave me down a comment below. Let me know what kind of fish or anything else that I may be putting in here that you think I'm putting in here, or what do you think would look really cool in here if I didn't already come up with my idea. And maybe I might change my mind. Who knows? It's not set in stone yet. It is just set up. We're gonna wait to see what happens, and hopefully the hairgrass will cover the back. This will carpet out. That will be a nice mid-ground plant. It'll kind of extend backwards. Then we'll have these little domes of moss growing, which I think will be pretty cool. But, oh, also, I'll leave the moss domes link in the description if you want to check them out. I don't sell them, but Amazon has them. So you can click the link and support me and pick yourself up some domes.